Anyways, Tez Walker, finally free. We've given Mans enough time today. Tez Walker is finally free, and it's funny. You know, when you're about to lose a lawsuit, normally you're not the person out here that's like super lippy, that's like super talkative, that's out here in the media or the press, out here trying to steer narratives. When you have been beaten, particularly in the court of law or soon to be beaten in the court of law, you normally just shut up. But in the usual fashion, the NCAA doesn't exactly go by the bylaws or the written code in the public relations code book. They ain't out here playing it by the book in any metric ever. Today, the NCAA announced that they would finally be granting Tez Walker his eligibility. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, Tez Walker started his career, I believe, at NC Central. But they were potentially in the midst of shutting down their program during 2020. So your program that you're at is shutting down their football program. You should probably have the right to go somewhere else. So he did. He went to Kent State, and after 2 years at Kent State, setting the mid-major markets on fire. He became one of the more coveted graduate transfers in the portal this year, and obviously transferred to North Carolina, then was forced to sit out and was deemed ineligible by the NCAA. Now, the NCAA comes out today, and this is one of the more petty, publicly released statements I've ever really read, and this is how you know this ain't biased. One of the people who wrote this is not just Charles Baker, the NCAA president. It's also our guy Jerry Moorhead, the president of the University of Georgia. So I hope I don't get in trouble here, but this is crazy. This is crazy stuff in terms of the level of pettiness that is written in this statement that was released today. Quote, "It is unfortunate that UNC failed to provide this important information previously. While we must be careful not to compromise a student athlete's right to privacy when it comes to sensitive issues, we want to assure the Division I membership and everyone watching how the new transfer rules are applied. That this meets the new transfer waiver standards." This now, this new piece of information that they got from UNC now meets the transfer waiver standards of the NCAA. Therefore, he is eligible. That wasn't in the statement. I'm riffing here. This is UNC's behavior and decision to wage a public relations campaign is, quote, "inappropriate and outside the bounds of the process UNC's own staff supported." And this is my favorite quote of the whole thing. "Had the UNC staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided." Okay, that last part, quote, "had the UNC staff not behaved in the fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this unfortunate event could have been avoided." That last statement, guys, sounded extremely personal to me. It was not, had they given us this information, everything would have been copacetic. It was, had y'all not acted in a way that we don't like and given us this information, then we would have approved this. And now you're sitting at home, you're probably wondering, what the hell is the new information? And I found an article today. I want to give these guys some good shout outs here. I got to find this article because it was really well done. But anyways, I'll come back and give it to you later. But in this article, it was important that they left out this quote-unquote most important info from the NCAA in their quotes. They didn't tell you what it was. So that's what we wanted to question. What was this newfound information that the NCAA received? Here's the new information. North Carolina not only has 5 attorneys working on Tez Walker's lawsuit case against the NCAA, but they got the Attorney General of the state involved this last week. Okay, on September 26th, he sent an article to the NCAA president, Charlie Baker. In that letter, I want to read this to you. Stein calls the NCAA's decision, quote, "wrong and likely illegal." He lays out several legal arguments and writes the transfer rules are, quote, "as applied to Mr. Walker's unique case, are unlikely to survive rule of season review, but the transfer rules also seem likely to violate the antitrust laws more broadly." Okay, that's the key note right there. He also writes, quote, the office is considering the full range of options at its disposal to investigate the NCAA's potential antitrust laws. Steen then later on demanded a letter from the NCAA on September 29th. So this newfound news, this newfound information, in my opinion, based off what I've seen, now it may be medically released, we don't know this, but based off the timelines of this interaction, it seems relatively unique to me that the NCAA came out and approved Tez Walker today after about, 10 days ago, receiving a letter from the Attorney General basically threatening an antitrust lawsuit, which, guys, if you don't know, the antitrust lawsuit is the last Jenga block before all this NCAA stuff starts timbering down. Okay, an antitrust lawsuit is essentially, from the way I interpret it, antitrust lawsuits and the violations that the NCAA has been threatened with here is what is going to enact pay for play. Okay, the NCAA is one of the only, and college sports in general, are one of the only businesses and entities and industries, if you will, in the entire world that is multi-billions of dollars worth of industry, okay, but is off the backs of unpaid labor. You guys know this. This is why name, image, and likeness was enacted, but people thought that was like, oh, great, players are being paid. Players are kind of being paid, but it's pay for play. It's not portions of revenue splits. That's not what this is. That part, the portions of revenue splits part, that's the antitrust lawsuit that the NCAA is petrified of ever happening. Because the moment the NCAA is dragged by the toes into court of law for an antitrust lawsuit, they're gonna lose. Okay, and the moment they lose whatever antitrust lawsuit, like this one with Tez Walker, okay, the moment they lose one of those, they're losing them all. And the next thing you know, portions of revenue splits are having to get peeled out, and then Title IX gets enacted, and literally the whole NCAA system comes crumbling down the moment pay for play and true pay for play, which is revenue splits, revenue portion splits. The moment that happens, the NCAA is gone. Thoughts?
They just be wilding this year, man.
Just be wilding, dog.
Apparently, they came into the 2023 season feeling some type of way, because any time that we see the NCAA involved in the news this year, it's been very loud. It hasn't been like some quiet sort of like, oh, yeah, we were in the wrong here, we're going to correct that. They've been very loud about how they feel about things.
It's not even – it's been almost borderline informal.
Not borderline. It is informal. Like the stuff, the cheeseburger comment with Jim Harbaugh, that's an active NCAA investigation, okay? They are still in the process of figuring out what the finalities of those are going to be. So imagine this. Imagine I'm suing Kirby, okay? And in part of that lawsuit, I don't know, just play with me here, okay? Imagine I'm suing Kirby, and in that lawsuit, okay, there's an understanding that I am not allowed to go out in the public image and public narrative and steer the narrative against him or make the lawsuit any type of unfavorable toward him. And ipso facto, all right? We are not allowed to be out here steering narratives, okay, in whatever form or fashion that we can be, okay, in any type of lawsuit or any type of investigation. In fact, most of the time, until all things are final, the number one thing people will say is, my attorney has advised me not to speak up on that subject, right? So, that being the case, Jim Harbaugh never commented about the NCAA. He has never said a word about this investigation outside of what he has been demanded to say in depositions or in any type of interview request that he's had from the NCAA. Outside of that, no comment. Can't comment on it. Not going to comment. And then the NCAA is out here allowed to leak a story to Ross Dellinger or whoever, Nicole Auerbach or whoever, and basically say, nah, this ain't about cheeseburgers. This is not about cheeseburgers. This is about so much other stuff. Had UNC done what they were supposed to, it's just, I don't get it, man. Like, for a company who, by the way, I think their sole purpose is to make sure people aren't cheating, but the sole purpose is to also make sure that people don't hate them. They got to make decisions based off public relations backlash. That's it. And they're horrible about it. Like, at least when like Roger Goodell makes bad decisions in the NFL, we all kind of get it. Like, he's the dead horse that we beat. Like, he's just the victim of what the owners are making him do. But these mythological decision makers in the NCAA, man, they just keep getting it wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's very interesting to see how almost out of touch they are with how they handle these things, because and there is a fair point to them where almost everything they do is going to be hated. Like the recruiting pictures yesterday that we talked about, that's not on the NCAA. That's coaches saying, hey, can we get something done about this because I'm tired of having to take photos of 50 kids. Yeah. But, of course, the NCAA is going to get the shaft of that. But
I mean, in this situation, though, this was a layup. This was an opportunity for them to take a victory lap. And honestly, had they just approved Tez Walker and made him eligible and come out and said in their statement, we have some newfound evidence I'm glad this process has been put behind. Tez Walker is now eligible to play. Go Tar Heels. I mean, they don't have to go that far. But if the statement had just been, hey, we got some new information. We're not going to release it because it's medical information, but he's now approved, okay? Then they would have gotten the pat on the butt. They would have gotten the pat on the butt. There would have been some people going, well, why the fuck did it take this long? Mm-hmm. I understand that. But at least you get the pat on the butt.
Yeah.
You don't get the, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all acting like ex-girlfriends out here, talking shit? Because that's basically what this is. This is talking shit.
I think it's because the way UNC went about their...
Oh, I know it was ugly, but that's Mack Brown's job, right? Mack Brown's job is to go out there and fight for his player, who, by the way, is going to impact wins and losses for their football team. Like, he's a good player.
Did you see the video of, like, when they announced that he's got eligibility?
I cringe at those.
So
I cringe at those. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say, like, I even cringe, like, when it happens to me. Like, this is going to sound really weird, but like the first time my wife told me that we were pregnant, I saw her holding her phone, and as soon as she, like, I knew what she was doing, and I was like, put the phone down, and I was serious about putting the phone down because I wanted that moment with my wife. I did not want that moment with the social medias. I did not want that moment, and now looking back on it, it would have been great to have the video of the moment or whatever, but it didn't feel like that was the intentions of that. So I was, hey, why do you have your phone out? Put the phone up. We had our moment, and it was one of the more special moments of my life to find out that we were having a child. But I didn't want that moment to be everyone else's moment. I wanted it to be ours. And this is a different scenario. But every time I see one of these things, unless it's like some type of public proposal or something like that, I just cringe. Like, I don't want to be in those rooms when those are intimate moments. I felt like.